For a closer look at what's ahead for luxury real estate in 2024, let's bring in Brown Harris Stevens CEO Bess Freedman, the queen of New York real estate. She oversees more than 50 offices in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Florida. Bess, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Nice to be here with you guys this morning.
So you have a great look at the pipeline, not just what's already been reported for the fourth quarter, but what brokers are talking about, what contracts are in the works. What does the first quarter look like in Manhattan right now?
I think it's slow and steady. As we know, it's no surprise 2023 was a really challenging year in real estate because of high mortgage rates, tight inventory, and prices staying high. So because the Fed has indicated that they're not going to be raising rates and maybe cutting them, we're a little bit hopeful about the first quarter, but it's not going to be dramatic. I think it's going to be a slow and steady sort of more inventory, more sellers in and more buyers in.
We saw a record number of cash deals in the fourth quarter. I think more than 2/3 or maybe even 3/4 of all deals were cash. And when you look at the 5 million plus, it's like 85–90%. So those are people that are very wealthy. They don't care about mortgages. They want to get good deals. Is the high end going to do better in the first quarter? What do you see the high end versus the middle and the bottom in New York is like under $1 million, but how do you see the three levels playing out in terms of strength?
Well, I think the discretionary spending that you're talking about might be a little bit more challenged because we have heard that Wall Street bonuses are not going to be great.
Yeah.
And that is always having an impact on people who are buying homes over $5 million.
And the job cuts.
The job cuts, all of that. So I do think it's going to take a little bit of time. We looked at 2022 versus 2023 for luxury, and our numbers were down in the double digits in 23. So I think 24 will be better. Every economist is telling us that 24 should be better than 23. But the housing market is one of those things that takes time and it cycles. And rates really have an impact on the housing market, even luxury.
Diana Olick was saying earlier that getting rates down to 6% wouldn't necessarily move things that much because you have so many people who are locked in below 4%.
That's really the challenge, is that sellers don't want to list because they've locked in 2% and 3%. And then buyers are saying, well, when should I get into the market? What's a good time? So that's been creating this sort of tightness in inventory. And so the market hasn't been as fluid as it normally would be. And it's frustrating. Yeah. But people do have to buy, people have to sell. As we know, they get married, they get divorced, people pass away. And so they continue to do those things. It's just people are trying to wait and see what's going to happen. But the economy's been really resilient. We haven't entered a recession. This is an election year. That always creates some sort of uncertainty. There is geopolitical crisis in the world with, second year with the Ukraine war and this terrorist attack against Israel on October 7th. I mean, there's stress in the world, but...
Real quickly, what would be more important to getting the real estate market moving again? A recession would be bad news because it would mean people wouldn't have money, but it would also mean rates would come down.
That's exactly, yeah, I mean, that's the challenge. It's sort of like what would be better. I mean, our economists have said maybe a recession would be good because then it would start to get things moving. So there's a little bit to that story, yes.
Finally, you have a good look on Florida as well. Have we seen that whole migration from the Northeast trend largely play out? Is the high-end market in Florida, do you think, going to have a fairly subdued 2024, or do you think that's still going to be strong?
I think it's going to be fairly subdued. From what we're hearing, what we're seeing, the pipeline, all of that, I think it's going to take a little bit of time before we get back to a better place. So, but we're in good shape. It's not horrible.
Yeah.
It's just, we're recovering. It's recalibrating, so to speak.
All right, Bess Freedman, thanks so much for
joining us. Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
Thanks, you too.